Hello there. Since everybody's supposed to start teaching online, I thought it might be nice to give you a couple pointers in case you want to use Collaborate Ultra on Blackboard. It is the video conferencing software that we have on Blackboard. So it may not be great, but it'll get the job done if you give it a shot. So I've logged in here to Blackboard so you can see from the beginning how I do this. I'll click on my courses and then I'll choose one of my courses. I'll choose this one. It really doesn't matter which one. On my particular course, you can see I have the tools item on the menu, but in case you don't have that, just go down here to course tools, click on that, and then you can get to Blackboard Collaborate that way. Notice that you'll get this screen and it just says create a session, which there's nothing intuitive about this. Let me show you over here on this left hand side, this menu item here. If you have used this before and you've recorded your sessions, which I'll show you in a minute how you do that, you can go to recordings and the recordings will show up here, and then the students could come in if they missed a class or if they want to just watch the class again. They could come in, they could hit a watch now, and then they could watch the course. They could do the whole course. They can just watch the whole thing no matter how long it is. So that's a nice handy feature of Collaborate, that you can actually record the sessions and then see them again. Okay, now let's go to sessions. We'll go back here to create a session. We'll just create a session. When we create a session, the first thing we have to do is give it a name. So this is my new session, I'll call it. And you notice that there's a start time and an end time. This is in case you wanted to set this up in advance so that it would start automatically, and then you can have the students come in, they can log in, so when you actually want to start the class, they could all be there. That'd be a nice thing to have do. There's a couple other session settings here. I would just leave them like they are. I wouldn't mess with them. Notice that when I put in the name of the session, it gives me the opportunity to join the session. I could also use my telephone if I wanted to for the audio, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to join the session. It'll give me this black screen. This is a brand new session. It's going to ask me, because I'm in Firefox, all browsers don't do this, but Firefox does it. It's going to ask me if they can use my microphone, so I'll say yes you can. And then it's going to ask me, can you use this? Okay, here we go. So it's going to ask me if it can use my microphone and it can use my video camera. Two things it wants to know. Okay, so now we're in the session. Nothing's going on. Looks pretty unintuitive again. So let's go over here to this menu. We'll see that if I wanted to record the session, I could click on this and then the session would start being recorded. Okay. An important thing about this is if I click on the microphone, then I'll be recording everything I say on Ultra. If I then hit this item and it says, okay, can you use a camera? And I'll say, yeah, go ahead and use a camera. What it's going to do is it's going to show me a little preview there of of what I'm going to look like. And then when I want to share, when it says you're about to start video sharing, I'm looking good, share when you're ready to go. If I click on this, what it will do now is it will give me the whole screen with my picture on it. And this is what the students would see if we started doing some kind of if I was doing a lecture with them. So just so we can show you, if you don't record the screen, so let's go over here and let's turn recording off. We'll stop the recording. You notice that what happens is your picture is going to be down here in the corner. And the idea is that everybody who logs in should have a camera on their computer. And if they do, what will happen is their picture will show up over here. So when you want to, if they raise their hand over here, you can see that icon, they raise their hand, you can then come over and click on them and give them the floor. So if somebody in your class was going to do a presentation, for example, you could have them raise their hand. It's their turn to do the presentation. Click on their picture, then their video and their audio would be going out to everybody in the class, everybody that's logged in at least. Okay, so that's a pretty handy feature of this. If you want to do presentations, you can do it. Or if you just want to have the student, a student wants to talk in the class, then you can actually give that student the floor. So one other thing I'll show you is when you click on this menu, it shows you the name of your session, but also down at the bottom it tells you how to leave the session. Okay, so you can start the recording there. You can leave the session. There's a couple other items here that you might want to use. The most obvious one might be the Blackboard help, Blackboard Collaborate help. Okay, so that's one menu. There's another menu. It's way over here. Okay, this is the one that shows you sort of the materials that you're going to use in the class. This is just a chat. There's nobody on there right now except me. There's nobody for me to chat with, of course. If I wanted to see who's on there, then I could click on this. It would show me all the people who are logged in. Okay. if I go way over here to this one, this will show me some of the settings, and also I'll put my little picture up there so that people can see what I look like. Um, and then this item right here, and like I said a while ago, I would leave most of these alone. This is a place that you can say you can use your microphone or your audio, but when I'm using Firefox, Firefox sort of forces me into that when I get into it. If you're using Chrome, Chrome doesn't do that. Chrome will let you go ahead and set them. You can either set them here or you can set them down here with the icons like I did. Either way, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, this other item, this other menu item is the fun one because it's going to allow you to do some things on the application. So for example, I'll show you how you can use a whiteboard. Put a whiteboard up there, and you want to put some notes, or you want to you want to draw some pictures. You click on the little item there. It'll tell you what color you want. You want it blue, black. Okay, let's make it gray, and then I can just draw lines and crazy stuff. I'll go ahead and clear that off. Let's say I was going to be serious about it. I'm going to put a rectangle here, and I'm going to put something in that rectangle. Let's say I'm going to draw some text. I'm going to change the color to black, and then I'll put in this is text. And notice I spelled this wrong. Okay, so I'll go back and then I'll just erase that. And I can use this pointer here if I wanted to move this around some, if I didn't get it exactly where I wanted, or if I want to use the whole box, I can move the whole box around, put the box over there, and bring the text down and put it in there. However you want to do, if you want to move things around when you're in the lecture. This is just a pointer, so you can just point to things that are on the screen. If you get a lot of things on the screen, you may want to use a pointer. This is, of course, the text tool, and then this, of course, is the tool you use just to get rid of everything. Okay, so that's the whiteboard. You want to get rid of the whiteboard, you just click on that little square up there in the corner. If you want to share files with the students, you can click on this, and then you can click on the add files. It'll give you your files on your computer. Let's say I want to take one of these. I'll just take that PDF. I'll throw it over there. And the add files, I may have had 2 or 3 files I want them to look at, or maybe I come across something while I'm talking and I want them to see. Then I can put the files up there, and then I would be clicking on sharing them now. I'd click down there, and then there you go. It would actually show you the file. Okay, this is some PDF file, so it would actually show you the file if you want to share them. Okay, so if I go back down here, and one of the things about this, I've noticed this on both the browsers that I use. I can't go right from the share the files right into the share the applications. I got to click on one of these other items first and go back to this thing. So that's kind of a weird thing, but that's what I don't know if it's just me or if it's some kind of a flaw in their application. Anyway, this is the application screen. I click on this, and what it's going to do, again, this is Firefox does it this way. Chrome does it a little bit differently. And I've never used in the other browsers, so I'm not sure what they do, but don't panic if it doesn't look exactly like this. What this is allowing me to do is when I click on this, it's going to say, okay, you want to do something, and I say, yeah, I want to use to see your screen, and I'll say yes. Okay, let's see. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I have loaded on another browser. I'm sorry, another monitor. I have a PowerPoint application called Broadband. So if I click on that, okay, and then it's going to let me call up Broadband. It's going to put the application, which I actually have loaded over here in another window. It'll put it right here on. It'll put it right here on the screen. If you don't have 2 monitors, it would just, you have it loaded and you have that behind the screen that you're looking at. It will then let you put this up there. So I can go ahead and put this on there, okay, to show them. Now, what it's doing, even though this is an application and it's PowerPoint, you can see that it's not going to let me do everything that I would like to do in PowerPoint. In other words, I'm not going to be able to go through the slides the way that I would want to. Okay, so that's one thing you have to keep in mind. So what you would do instead, okay, and again, I'm going to get out of that. What I would do instead is when I want to share an application, what I would like to do is I'd like to go ahead and share the entire screen. So I'm going to share screen 1, okay? And that's going to be like I said, I have two monitors here. So I'm going to go over to this other monitor for a second. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and I'm going to enlarge in this file. And then I'll go ahead and use PowerPoint the way that I want to. So in other words, I've always found it easier to just go ahead and use the entire screen rather than just the application window. It just doesn't work as well with the application window. Probably okay if you're just doing word processing. If you're going to do something that's going to be a little dynamic like PowerPoint, what you want to do is you want to go ahead. Now you'll see that I haven't gone into the presentation mode, but let's say if I go into presentation mode, okay, and what it does, and it's there you can see that it's it's fine, okay, works just fine, okay. So I'm going to get out of this now. I'm going to try to at least. Okay, where am I? Here we go. Okay, and it's back on the screen that I was on originally, so I'm going to go ahead and click out of this, and so now I'm back where I was. Okay, so I can share an application, I can share files, I can do a whiteboard, I can also do a poll if I want to. I clicked on the poll, I'd have to create the poll, and I say, okay, yes or no, ask a question, who is it? Okay, which is not a very yes/no question, but then I can click on that, I can start, and then it will give all the students a chance to go through and answer the question, yes, no, and then you could get your poll done. Okay, something that you might that you may want to use. You can also put the students in groups if you want to. Again, I've never done that. I know some other people do, but it is one of the, if you click on it, it'll ask you how many groups you want, how many people you want in the groups, etc., etc. Okay, so I'm finished with all this. Okay, I wasn't recording this session, but if I went over there, if I start recording it, you see that what it does is it puts my picture back on the screen, and you may want your picture on the screen, you may not. That's just up to you, whatever turns you on. Okay. So I want to get out of this. So what I can do is I can just leave the session, and I'm finished.